Hey, hi. Our topic for today's video is antimicrobial chemotherapy. Antimicrobial chemotherapy is a huge topic. It contains series of videos in this channel, but in this particular video, we'll just know what is a chemotherapy, what is an antibiotic, and what are antimicrobial drugs. So, firstly, we'll start with what is chemotherapy. As you know that the chemo means chemicals, therapy means treatment. Chemotherapy is nothing but the treatment using chemicals or drugs. Chemotherapy. Simply, the chemotherapy means the treatment using drugs or chemicals. Majorly, chemotherapy was used in two conditions. In two conditions. One is neoplastic cells development in the body, and the other one is pathogenic organism presence. Pathogenic organism presence. See, what are neoplastic cells? It means that the abnormal growth of cells or tissues. Cells or tissues. Neoplastic cells is nothing but the abnormal growth or abnormal mass growth of cells or tissues. Right? You know that the abnormal growth of mass in our body is nothing but the cancer. Right? This chemotherapy was used in the treatment of cancer. Secondly, in in presence of a pathogen in a person's body, we go for chemotherapy. Right? That is in case of infectious diseases. In case of infectious diseases. So chemotherapy was used majorly in two conditions. That is in the presence of cancer in a person or in presence of infectious diseases, a pathogenic organism presence in a person's body, we go for the chemotherapy. Right. So coming to the chemotherapeutic drugs. Chemotherapeutic drugs. Therapeutic drugs. See, chemotherapeutic drugs are majorly of three three classes we can say. Firstly, antimicrobial drugs and anti-parasitic drugs. Finally, anti-neoplastic drugs. See, this antimicrobial drugs again they were divided into three. Okay, antimicrobial drugs they act against the microbes present in our body. Parasitic drugs act against the parasites or foreign bodies present in our body, and neoplastic drugs they act on the abnormal tissue or abnormal cells that are growing inside the body in presence of a cancer or in presence of tumor in that person. See, antimicrobial drugs or antibacterial drugs, fungal drugs, and antiviral drugs. Right, this antimicrobial drugs again are classified into antibacterial drugs, antifungal drugs, and antiviral drugs. We will discuss about all the drugs with examples in upcoming videos. So for now, we'll know what is an antibiotic. Many times people think that the antibiotics and antibacterial drugs and antibiotics are same, but not. They're not same because antibiotic means it is a drug. It is also a drug, but this drug was produced using microbes. Right? These drugs were produced using microbes, and also these drugs they act against microbes. right? They act against microbes or like bacteria, fungi, etc., right? So these were produced by microbes like bacteria, fungi, algae, etc. They were produced using microbes like bacteria, fungi, algae, etc. And they also act against the microbes. So it can be said that antibiotic, it is a natural produced drug, naturally produced drug. Whereas antibacterial drugs, they also act against the bacteria. They also reduce the amount of bacteria present in our body, but these can be synthetic, right? These are produced synthetically, like sulfonamides, right? They are produced synthetically. If we take an antibiotic that we can tell about penicillin. So penicillin is produced by an organism called Penicillium notatum, and it acts against bacteria. Right. It was produced by a microorganism and it acts on a microorganism. That is why it is called an antibiotic. Where we tell about the sulfonamides, these were produced synthetically in a laboratory and they act against the bacteria. That is why sulfonamides are antibacterial. Right. So this is how we differentiate antibiotic from an antibacterial drugs. And also these antimicrobial drugs, they act on a bacteria um, on basing on different mechanisms, right? Like some will inhibit the cell wall synthesis, some will act on inhibition of protein synthesis, some will act on inhibiting the DNA synthesis. Okay, some will act on the decreasing or not enabling the bacteria to produce the cell membrane properly, right? Likewise, the antimicrobials, they act on bacteria and they kill that they kill the bacteria or